Hello, ladies and gentle tamers, once again to MONSPIRACY number 19 here at butterfly.net. Holy shit, how have I never used that as an intro? Holy shit, that would make such a good intro. Also, wait, hold on. And there we go. Now you can see me properly. Hey, Analog! Hello! And hello as well to... I'm calling you Takara because the first part of your name is hard to pronounce, and hello to Draggy. So, as you may have noticed from the lack of his voice, Xanda is not here yet. Oh, thank you! It's mostly composed of things I bought on the booth store for Vroid. Very happy with how it came out so far. We shall call this version... There are too many versions of me for me to keep track of anymore, but there is going to be, in some point in the future, a proper customized design. This works very well for now, though. But as for right now, I wanted to go over some updates because, as I mentioned, Xana is not here yet. He was encountering some difficulties, so there is a chance he might not be able to make it, but we will still be able to do our stuff. Right, so actually, outside of the ticket problem, Dave has been very kind to me. I can usually get battles in without any problems whatsoever. Shocking, I know, but this is the case. In addition to that, one thing I wanted to show off is, watch this. I can be big and small, and big and small. Oh shit, you're right, the event was supposed to be this Sunday. Fuck. Damn. Dave, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this, Dave? Well, we're actually going to talk about why Dave is doing this. We are going to talk about why approximately 50% of the Gammamon... Oh, I fucking loved it. Like, I adored that shit. It was beautiful. Beautiful. See, I actually really liked how Ghost Game was the kind of show that you could pick up at literally any episode and not really be missing anything. So I feel like, in that sense, the finale worked great. At this point, anyone who's interested in Ghost Game's world can just straight up pick up the plot wherever they so choose, and develop it however they wish. However, a lot of people were expecting more from the Gammamon line, and it's recently been discussed that the reason for that is because the Gammamon line got overdeveloped by Bandai. Now, that's what they tell the plebeians. But here, we know different. What likely occurred is that it was decided to center Ghost Game around the newly discovered Gammamon species family, only for Bandai to then discover significantly more than they bargained for. And that is precisely what will be the focus of today's MONSPIRACY. However, first, we are going to go over the channel updates. Oh yeah, okay, so see, here's the thing. They didn't just randomly drop that Goulus is from space. We've known Goulus was from space since episode 1, since before episode 1. We've known Goulus is from space since Gammamon's profile dropped, because Gammamon is from space. The entire Gammamon species family is partially composed of data, which came from outer space. Data that was picked up on sensors from outer space, and so it has a semi-alien vibe to it. We have known since day one that the entire Gammamon line has to do with aliens. So that's the thing. It's not referring to digital space, like a different planet or something. What it's referring to is Okay, you know what? Let's just jump right into it. We'll recap this for Xanda later. Also, just realizing I need to hide the Xanacam for now, and there we go. Okay. I do remember that, actually. Alright, so let me just pull up our Digimon Encyclopedia, and what we're gonna do is go through every single canonical Gammamon species family and Gammamon species family, like, extended family, just to run through precisely what we're dealing with here. So, Kurimon, early on, is a baby Digimon characterized by its single horn and large frill. Highly active, will bounce around in the Digig before even being born. Once it's hatched, always on the move. Horn and frill are soft and underdeveloped, so it can't battle, but will use them to maintain its balance when helping it bouncing and crashing into things. Next up, we have Gurimon. It bounces around in search of big, sturdy-looking boulders and uses its prickly attack to crash into the stone with its horns. Should it withstand the attack, it becomes overjoyed, running around with a sudden burst of energy in hopes of growing even stronger. Its frill is more developed, providing protection for its soft body while also making it look bigger than it really is. Now, here's where things get interesting, because it's time to talk about Gammamon itself. Welcome to Dave's Spiracy, where every episode we mention Dave in some regard. Today is Dave's episode. You're not wrong. I feel like what we're going to prove here is that the unique nature of the Gammamon species family is that everyone gets a Dave. And here's why. So, an extremely rare young white ceratopsian Digimon that was recently discovered. Gammamon's Digivolution is said to be related to a digital signal that came from somewhere outside our galaxy. The two sturdy horns going from its head are weapons for both attack and defense. Gammamon uses the small wings on its back to float, allowing it to fly a little. It rarely shows emotion, but seems to grow friendly over time once it establishes an emotional bond. It uses its special move Horn Attack to charge with its twin horn. It also uses Break Claw to charge power into the claws of its left hand before unleashing a powerful blow. So, right here, related to a digital signal that came from somewhere outside our galaxy. If you're not already familiar with the concept, NASA sends out probes and shit, and has lots of sensors and whatnot, which are explicitly able to pick up on digital information that is being transmitted throughout outer space. A good example of this is how we pick up on cosmic background radiation, which is the leftover interference that was created by the Big Bang, which affects all of our digital technology. Now then, that's whether or not there's actual aliens involved, the combination of it being data that came from somewhere outside of our galaxy, plus the associations of what that involves on the internet, means that Gammamon in and of itself has a slightly alien vibe to it. The other neat thing is how Gammamon itself is marked with a vital bracelet on every single evolution except for Gulus. It has that that band on its left arm. Which ties into that epic shit Hero pulled in the final episode, where he literally grew Siriusmon's gun sword out of his vital bracelet, which I fucking loved. That was freaking amazing. Like, Oh wait, no, wrong button. Freaking amazing! Hold on, let me pop back over to this so I can read chat. Right, so exactly. So it's not necessarily digital information, but electromagnetic waves that get turned into digital by tools. So that's the kind of thing that it's referring to in Gammamon's profile. Whether or not there are also aliens will remain to be seen. However, to move things a step further, we're going to go to Betel Gammamon, Gammamon's primary evolution in Ghost Game. The matured form of Gammamon, its body turned red from the flames of its burning soul. It is more agile, boasts improved speed and power in close combat, and the strength of its attack multiplies in accordance with the swelling of its emotions. Betel uses its special move Sword Blow to strike the enemy with the flames built up in its fist, or Sword Shot to hurl them, albeit with reduced strength. Now, here is where things get interesting. Because Betel Gammamon, like, it's not so much that Gammamon splits into three. What's interesting here is we all know Gammamon's perfect stage evolution as Canovismon, which then goes into Sirius, and then there's the Gulu side. But what also did not appear in Ghost Game that people aren't mentioning are these four. First off, Fumamon, an extremely skilled assassin Digimon that is superlative in the Fuma school of ninja techniques. It makes a living by undertaking missions to eliminate targets. It not only makes great use of physical prowess in close combat, but also utilizes shuriken and other projectile weapons to remain a threat at mid and long range too. Fumamon will doggedly chase down any target that flees. Its prey's only hope of survival is to defeat Fumamon itself. Its ability to manipulate the trajectory of Tsubakuro, the shuriken attached to its gauntlets, helps it to damage its target's limbs, preventing them from moving. Finishes off mobile opponents with its Shori Hotsu move, which makes use of its Shirasagi and Kurosagi, the ninja swords, on its back. Fumamon can also use the scrolls on its waist to summon undead Digimon during its Yomi Modoshi technique. Now, cool ninja Digimon, right? Here's what's actually interesting about this. This Digimon has 3 horns, and on the Gamma B Eden, can evolve from... Sorry, I just have to load this in. Alright, there we go. On the Gamma B Eden, it can only evolve from Betel and Sealstramon. But what's key about this is the presence of the 3 horns. Those 3 horns are meant to denote this as a Gammamon species family Digimon. In particular, this is the form that exclusively evolves from Betel Gammamon, meaning that this can be considered to be Betel Gammamon's true perfect level, like digital monster style. If Gammamon was the host of a digital monster version, this would be the perfect for Betel Gammamon. Next up, we get to Chaos Gammamon. Chaos Gammamon is the matured form of Gammamon, which turns blue in Tranquility of the Serene Soul, spreads the membranes on its arms to float like a glider, will fly far distances from high elevations using the jets on its knees to raise an elevation during its flight. It's calm and collected at all times, and fights while reading its opponent's movements. Uses the special move Urda Impulse to launch a gliding tackle at the enemy, or Lamberta Kick to fire from its knee jets for a somersault kick. Which, just like Betel, has a seeming... Now, here's the thing. This one could actually have a couple of unique forms. Because Fumamon So, because see, here's the thing. Fumamon, Gilead-humon, and Bombermon are all also ones that were introduced, but Chaos is explicitly able to become both Bomber and Zenmetsu, whereas Wezen is able to become both Bomber and Gilead. The problem here is that since Betel can also become Zanmetsu, Chaos is the only one kind of left without a unique evolution. However, since Chaos's evolutions are all shared, and Kano Vice is technically the only one which appears to maintain a flying form, we can actually say that Kano Vice is likely the most Chaos associated. But in terms of coloration, Chaos's perfect form would be Zanmetsumon, which I'm not going to continue going into their research pages, their reference book profiles, just cuz. But, the important thing here is that going into Wezen, we have once more a Gammamon form and a perfect Gammamon form with a high association with it. In this case, Wezen Gammamon is quite literally the only Digimon that can evolve into Gilead-humon on the Gammamon Din. And it's in returning to Kano Vicemon that we can advance into Seriousmon, which on the Gammamon Din can come from any of Betel's perfects. Now, where things get interesting is obviously Seriousmon, Kano Vicemon's Mega, which was used to great effect in Ghost Game. But we also have to cover Gulus Gammamon, which is known for being the evil heart hidden within Gammamon. Digivolving into a violent Digimon, rejects outside interference and thinks of nothing but battle. When it gets its hands on the opponent in front of it, it will continue its assault until their life is extinguished. Its battles are brutal, and even if its limbs are crushed, it will still continue attacking without concern. Which then digivolves... Excuse me. Which then digivolves into Regulusmon, the boy himself. An evil dragon Digimon that plots to rule through Raging Field. As a perfect level Digimon, it boasts power reminiscent of Megidramon of the Four Great Dragons. Its body is the source of the Gulus Realm Burst contagion, and is said to be that Digimon infected by a GRB factor undergo a twisted change in personality and run amok. However, Black Digitron, the secretion said to cause the blackening, has not been confirmed to cause infections in Digimon who have it in their systems. What we believe this line means, based on Ghost Game, is that Black Digitron somehow serves as an antibody type or vaccine for the GRB. As for its special moves, its Calypso Bite technique sees opponents seized by the jaws of its left arm shield, while 3 penetrating lasers are fired from the shield during its Iphigenia Pierce move. For Dead End Spike, it stabs the foes with its pronged tail, and lastly, Grand Trace spits a ball of dark hellfire that swallows all things. Not only physical matter, but even light itself is consumed, leaving not a trace behind. And then I pull up Wikimon, because there are no profiles for our last 2 Gammamon species forms. So we're going to go look at Arcturusmon. Arcturusmon is a mysterious Digimon that is said to have evolved by concentrating dark, evil energy to its utmost limit. In a study on certain Digimon that produced the secretion known as the GRB factor, it was found that they theoretically evolved when a simulation was conducted in which large amounts of GRB factor were injected into the Digimon that produce it themselves to their limit. Although the situation was repeated hundreds of times, all the simulation results confirmed that they would evolve into this Digimon. So it's theorized that a Digimon can manifest, it to be a Digimon that can manifest even in the real digital world, so long as the conditions are met. It's unknown what sort of ecology it has, but since the level of dark energy measured in the simulation was by far the highest among Digimon that have currently been discovered, it's conjectured that when this Digimon manifests, it will generate a digital hazard that drastically alters the environment of the digital world. Its supposed special moves are piercing the opponent with the drills on its arm and injecting them with GRB factor to corrode them, Black Death, and coating the drills on both its arms with large amounts of GRB factor and spinning them rapidly, allowing it to compress the GRB factor to its utmost limit, and then shooting it, Black Confession. And then, of course, going from this, we get to alright, just catching up before we get to the last one. Let's see. Apparently I forgot to turn off my phone's notification sounds. So let me do that. Yeah, it's Dave time. It's time to talk about the one, the only, Proximamon, who is still listed as a question mark Agumon on Wikimon. A mysterious Digimon that is said to govern over destruction and creation and possess immense power, since it is a Digimon whose theoretical manifestation was predicted in a simulation on a high-speed computing device. It is unknown whether it exists in the real digital world. It has the ability to generate the opposing forces of holy energy and evil energy, and is said to be capable of disassembling every constituent substance in the digital world with evil energy and reconstructing the disassembled substances with holy energy to create new ones, because it disassembles and recreates everything such as the Digimon in its surroundings and the environment by merely existing. There is a risk that the digital worlds will be completely rewritten in the blink of an eye as a result of this Digimon manifesting. For that reason, in order to prevent any possible abuse, the simulation data on the evolution requirements for manifesting Proximamon is strictly kept secret. It constantly invokes its extinction cloud, which disassembles everything into the smallest units with black particles, and its light of recreation, where it uses its huge battle axe imbued with holy light to recreate what was disassembled into a new existence. Now, to pop back over and catch up, so Patty, what we've been going over is the nature of the Gammamon species family. So, having gone through all of them, here is the key to the Gammamon species family. The Gammamon species family is a system that essentially boils down to it is essentially kind of its own full-on digital monster, in that this is a family consisting of a very high amount of species variety, and it seems like Gammamon in and of itself is very much a Digimon which almost exploits evolution. Okay, poorly worded, but what I mean to say is that Gammamon is a Digimon very similar to what's the one I'm looking for? Chikomon, maybe? It was either Chikomon or Demivimon. Hold on. Random page. Is it you? No, it was you. Okay, so there are some Digimon, such as Chikomon, which, for example, has the potential to evolve to every Dragon Digimon. So, with that being the case, I think that Gammamon occupies a similar role, where something about its species, something about its Digicore, makes it so it has a very high potential for specialized evolutions, not only in the sense that it has a variety of different unique adult forms it can take, but also continuing that into its perfect stages. That the adult forms it can naturally reach can then proceed to become even more specialized is incredibly interesting. And yeah, pretty much. Swiss Army Digimon. It's very similar to the Pulsemon species family, which, as we know, the Impulse City Dim focused entirely on, and the Pulsemon species family is very much is essentially its own full-on field centered around the data of sports. So, the Gammamon species family has less of a focus and is more so... They're kind of parallels to each other. Pulsemon is a pendulum... let's call it Pendulum 7.0 Impulse City. Impulse City being the field, and the Pulsemon species family being its inhabitants, all of which centering around the concept of sport and health data. However, Gammamon, on the other hand, is more similar to the Digimon capture data used in the classic docs, as they have far more evolution potential and variety within that potential, and can then spread out further. In fact, if we were to take the route of, say, like, obviously the amount of Digimon involved, like, the amount of Digimon of different levels involved varies, but you see my point, right? And so, what is very interesting, though... Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. A Digimon that has a weird Digicore, 3 Evo lines, has Jagras where one of its kind becomes a weapon, and a Digimon that rewrites or eats Digicores around them. Gammamon is Dorumon 2. Honestly, I would not be remotely surprised if Gammamon's species family has some kind of ties directly to the prototypes. Though, honestly, it does have a very similar vibe to Dorumon in that regard, but I don't think its uniqueness is because it's a prototype Digimon. I think the uniqueness probably comes from its incorporation of data from outside of our solar system, and here's why. Actually, it's Quadramon 3. So, what I think is going on with Gammamon is I think the incorporation of data from outside our galaxy has essentially manifested within Gammamon the high potential of something akin to an ancient species via introducing spaghetti code. I think the Gammamon line, especially considering that it appeared so soon after the return of ancient and of both ancient and more basal structure Digimon after the Pendulum Z is actually somewhat implying that the Gammamon species in and of itself is actually somewhat implying, alongside this being the case with Pulsemon, that the newer Digimon that we're encountering, that are more recently discovered, may have come about because the Digimon involved have that more basal structure to allow them to adapt to more varied environments. Towards that end, if you look at Gammamon's evolution path, if we were to assume that Gulus Gammamon is its natural evolution, its natural adult form, based on the fact that without any outside interference, Gammamon will become a Gulus. If you were to say, load the Gammamon dim right now onto your BE, and just leave it, do not interact with it until it reaches the adult stage, it would become a Gulus Gammamon. For that reason, we can assume that to be its quote-unquote natural adult form. With that being the case, given their high level of specialization and their color-codedness, would it not be fair to assume that Betel, Wezen, and Kaus are, to some degree, parallels to the concept of armor evolution? Alternative forms approaching the level of adult in terms of general power output, which are more circumstantial in their use, and rather than serving as a replacement for evolution in this case, are instead creating completely different paths. And yeah, so what happens when Xana can't make it and we still do MONSPIRACY? It's not his brain getting launched, it's yours. And for the record, the NASA bill is even higher than usual because we were looking at Gammamon data. How did you even get to that thought, Patty? Like, how? I didn't even mention her. So, it's not so much that... So, blue isn't so much friendship in this case, it's more so that wind is actually associated with the Digimental of Love. I'm not saying that these are explicitly armor evolutions, but rather that the evolutions themselves occupy a similar space. But yeah, this, God, yeah, you're right. There are some Imperial Dramon parallels with, there are some Imperial Dramon parallels with Proxima. To be honest, I'm currently working on raising a Proxima, and in my head, I'm very much imagining a Digicross where Proxima and shipping Proxima and Mastemon. Okay. That's a concept right there. That is a concept right there. But yeah, that more or less covers everything I wanted to go over with the Gammamon line. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? I have many concerns. I'm very excited, though, by the fact that Arcturus and Proxima did not show up in Ghost Game, because that gives us something to explore with them. We have things to do with the Gammamon line without connecting it to Ghost Game. That means that we can actually do things like explore it in, like, say, Seekers. In Seekers, there could be a subplot about why the Gammamon species is species family is so varied despite being so newly discovered. It could go into more detail about what the GRB factor actually is and what it does, and why it's so, and why Black Digicron can stop it. We could actually see Proximamon manifest for something. But yeah, to continue on, another thing we have to cover is, of course, a Ravil post. And this time we will be dealing with the rise of the Banchos. So, get your Gakuran ready. Now, the Bancho Dojo. It all started one day when a letter calling for all the tamers in the nation was sent by a mysterious sender. The letter only mentioned a place and time for a meeting. Although a tamer was suspicious about it, they went there anyway, but at first the tamer didn't find anything. But that was just because they didn't look at the right place. Bancho Leomon appears there, complaining about the tamer's unexpected slackness, and decides to train that tamer from scratch. Bancho Leomon promised a man's reward for the tamer who could finish his test, and so the Bancho Leomon trial starts. After a long time, the tamer was able to endure Bancho Leomon's training, and finally, he could recognize the tamer as a true Digimon tamer, and so the tamer is given a man's reward by giving the Bancho Leomon card, and asks the tamer to use his power as much as needed for the good of justice. Next up, in a facility, Villamon is being cornered by Dokugumon and Arachnamon. It seems that Lilimon disobeyed Arachnamon, and now the Dokugumon want to hurt Lilimon. As Lilimon is screaming for help, the lights went out for an instant, and when the lights return, Lilimon catches a glimpse of Bancho Leomon that allows her to recognize her savior. But right after that, she tries to say thanks, he's gone. She'd only heard about him from rumors, but looking at him showed how cool the man among the men really is. Seeing that makes Lilimon make up her mind to confess to him for Valentine's Day. So, Lilimon falls in love with Bancho Leomon. Next up, we have Bancho Mammamon. Various Digimon are being transported by Commandramon until Bancho Mammamon appears to stop them. The Commandramon evolve into Sealdramon, and Bancho Mammamon thinks they want to fight, but actually they escape from the area in a way that Bancho Mammamon didn't see anything. But he won't just let them get away with this, and will seek them out and bring them to justice no matter what. It enters a facility where many Digimon are being imprisoned, frees them saying they don't need to care about what anyone else thinks, they need to live freely. The Digimon are very happy, saying they'll never forget his help, but that they also want to work under Bancho Mammamon as his underlings. The Bancho, however, doesn't understand why they will want to return to being that when he just set them free, but they want to find their new sense of self and hope that by living with Bancho Mammamon they can find that. But Bancho Mammamon can't accept that, since having so many brothers would remove his own freedom. The Bancho runs away from there, but the other Digimon run so they can follow their oddity. In the background, however, two Digimon can be seen detecting that the Bantio are still on their way and must be eliminated. The most recent report states that the new Bantio appeared, and so they need to prepare their new strategy. In a familiar-looking facility, Commandramon and Sealdramon are hunting down a Blacktailmon that got in their way, and now they will delete the Digimon as a showcase of what happens to those who interfere with them. How Blacktailmon doesn't regret her actions. Suddenly, Sealdramon is destroyed, and so is the Commandramon that tried to contact headquarters after noticing. Blacktailmon is mad at first, asking why she helped when she didn't want it, but there, Lilimon says that she didn't want to help the Blacktailmon, but now that she can move, she needs to get out of there now. Before Blacktailmon can process what happens, the Lilimon goes away. Still there, Blacktailmon notices that the Lilimon might be the one from the rumors, the one that is a Bancho Lilymon. And so Black Lilymon decides to become that Lilymon's underling. Black Lilymon also asks the help of the tamer that saw everything. They need to follow Big Sis Bancho Lilymon. Later on, Black Lilymon is attacked by a Tankdramon and asks Bancho Lilymon for help. Bancho Lilymon wonders how they keep appearing more and more. She is now weak. Since the fighting power of Bancho Lilymon is decreased, Tankdramon was now initiating the capture sequence, however... Hey! You made it! You missed it. We covered the entirety of the Gammamon species family. Look at all these tabs.
Oh my fucking god, holy shit. Okay, well, I'm glad I'm not late for at least us talking about the finale, I hope.
So yeah, we can talk about the finale. I was just running through a Ravel article, because we have one of those too.
Oh, sick. What's
Yeah.
this one about?
The Banchos.
Oh.
Yeah. Basically, Ravel got his hands on some setting material from the old Digimon browser card games, like collectors and shit.
Oh, okay.
And so he's just been going ham on that.
I've been seeing some of the tweets he's been making about that, and I never heard of this before. Like, I didn't know it was like a browser game, and like it was like kind of like almost an ARG before those were really big.
Mm-hmm. Which, of course, Digimon got into the ARG before ARG was a thing.
Of course.
But the fun part. So first things first, let's talk about the finale. I personally thought it was awesome.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It felt very fitting for what Ghost Game was trying to do, being all about the bond between humans and Digimon, being the kind of show where you can just hop in at any point and not really be missing anything. I also, I'm pretty sure, my favorite scene by far is a combination of Hero literally, like, pulling Seriousmon's Stella straight out of his vital bracelet.
That was really sick, and I that's pretty cool to me too, because like it's kind of like a reverse version of what Pulsemon can do in the manga right now, in a way.
What I think is really cool about it is more so along the lines of how it very heavily implies that Ravel was right about the Vital Bracelet being the current peak of blurring the line between Tamer and Digimon. That the Vital Bracelet, in some capacity, may actually grant the Tamer the ability to tap into the power of the Digimon they have directly.
Yeah. And
if
that
I
was
were occupying a digital space and had a virtual version of a Vital Bracelet on, I could theoretically manifest the Omega Blade.
which is fucking awesome.
I know!
I never noticed that Gammamon had like the red band around his arm was like a representation of the Vital Brace. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I've seen it pointed out before. I didn't expect him to actually make use of it. I thought it was just a nod. But one of the cool part,
What?
it's present on every single evolution except for Goose.
I fucking love that. That's really awesome. That's a really nice touch. And that's something I gotta say, you know, I'm fine with Gulus being the villain.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, you know, it at the very least answered like the main questions. Like things like there are like two small things that I wish they would have talked about, but they're like overall small. Well, one's really small, one is a little bit more of a thing that I think they should have been addressed in some way. The first thing is like Kiyoshiro's arm bandages thing. I was hoping he was going to take those off at some point.
Yeah, that would have been great.
They hint at it in a few episodes, and then it never happened. I thought it was going to happen whenever he went like had
Like, you thought that that was going to be a reveal for an Evolution episode.
Yeah, what's her face? If Jellymon went to Mega, he would have taken it off, and that would have like shown something. And then the second one, and this is the one a lot of people are talking about for good reason. Moon Millenniumon is just chilling in Hero's room now, I guess.
I'll be honest, I actually really like that they didn't use Moon Millenniumon.
I'm fine with it too because that was already kind of like that she showed up in 2020. I know he wasn't like the ultimate bad guy, but he was a pretty big part of that one.
More
so I'm not.
What I really like about the way they did Moon Z Millenniumon is they maintained its status as like a proper threat and a proper like danger. Like they made sure that it didn't lose like its edge in the fact that it was possessing a corpse, in the functionality of Moon as a kind of like power saving mode.
Yeah.
But I really like that we're moving away from giving Millenniumon the gravitas of 3 entire games that none of us have ever played.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I love Millenniumon as a concept. I love it as the development of Chimeramon and Machinedramon into the perfect artificial Digimon, which then advances even further into higher and higher forms of destructive power. But it doesn't need to be the end-all, be-all, most powerful enemy in the entire digital world. It's a representation of its purpose is to serve as a representation of the Y2K bug, and with that having passed us by so thoroughly, let it just be something people can use.
Yeah. And even like there's a possibility there's a possibility in my opinion that maybe what they're hinting at with that is that like, oh well, you know, Hero can now raise Moon Millenniumon to not
I think that's another thing that Ghost Game kind of implied really well. These aren't soul bond partners. These are heart bond partners.
Yeah, it's really just like the connection that they have with each other that really makes them stronger.
They have with each other. And that's really made clear by the fact that they have their like key partner Digimon, and then they have other Digimon that they befriend. And the other Digimon they befriend are able to evolve too.
True, yeah. I mean, Hero straight up just gets a second partner.
Mm-hmm. And we even have Digimon that will evolve to protect humans that they don't even have Digivices to connect them. With that being so, like, it really heavily implies that that raising multiple Digimon isn't a weird thing as far as Ghost Game is concerned, which is nice, because it's nice to finally have a Digimon series that addresses the idea of raising multiple Digimon outside of a partner Digimon.
Yeah.
Especially in a way that doesn't devalue the idea of a partner Digimon. It's nice. But to move on to the elephant in the room, I'm guessing, based on the fact that you retweeted it, I'm guessing you also saw that thread about how Arcturus and Proxima were not planned.
Yeah, even not just them, but also just the Digivice Double V was not planned as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so this week's video is going to be me talking about the finale,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to tack on a segment talking about that thread, because that's some pretty big news. Because like, it at least, you know, it gives us a reason.
It contextualizes things a lot.
It does. It really, really does. I hope, with like the whatever they do next. I mean, Seekers is gonna probably have this done a lot better for sure. But if they do another anime, I really hope they have a better communication system with Toei before they do something like this. Because like I'm assuming. I mean, we talked about this before though. We talked about the fact that like the B felt like something that wasn't originally in the cards, but it's just something they ended up doing. And this pretty much confirms it. It seems like they were expecting the Vital Brace era to essentially end with Ghost Game.
Either that, or they were expecting the Vital Bracelet era to either end with Ghost Game, or they were not expecting to get as much of a hit out of it as they did, to the point where people would be demanding waterproofing.
Yeah, that too. Because, like, I mean, the Vital Brace B is a pretty important part of Seekers, so, like, I don't know how long Seekers has been in the cards for.
I feel
but
like
it
Seekers has such a strong premise, though, that it would have happened with its own virtual pet if it hadn't been the Vital Bracelet.
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't know, it's a little strange to me that, like, they did not bother to be like, hey, by the way, we're making like a new Digivice toy. You might want to add that into your show. I know you're almost done finishing it, but like you should add it in. And they were just like, oh fuck, okay. Anything else? And they're like, well, we're adding 2 completely different evolutions that you don't have time to animate or put into the story. And they were like, okay, like it makes everything look really like all over the place. Like I'm fine with the idea of, because Bandai's done this before. I mean, we have a shit ton of armor evolutions that have never shown up in like any anime or game. You know, after the fact, when it comes to like O2, there are things that they'll do to kind of flesh out the story in the world that have nothing to do with the anime. This has happened before,
This has happened before,
but
honestly,
not this bad, in my opinion.
Honestly, that's where we differ, my friend. Because I am thrilled at this.
Is there a reason why?
There is a reason why. This is the first time ever a central protagonist Digimon has had 50% of its species family unexplored in its native season.
True.
We have 50% of the Gammamon line to do whatever the fuck we want with in the future, and it's not gonna feel like an XP of Hero or, oh, this person's copying Hero. The amount of time we had to wait on Omegamon for Nokia to have the impact of our war game all over again. Gammamon does not even have to wait half that long. It could be the fucking poster child of the next story game as your starter, and it wouldn't feel forced or connected to Ghost Game at all because of Fumamon, Gileadhumon, Bombermon, Zanmetsumon,
True, yeah.
Arcturusmon, Proximamon, all these different Digimon that never appear. They're brand new. They don't have a connection to Hero. The only tamer they have a connection to, as far as you're concerned, is you.
I see it. I see the vision.
And I love that. We have the avenue to properly explore things like the GRB factor. We have the avenue to properly explore things like, why does this dinosaur have so many evolutions? Why can it become so specialized? Why does its individual adult levels have individual perfect levels?
Wait, each one has its own perfect?
Not each one. Betel Gammamon is the only Gammamon form that can evolve into Fumamon. Gileadhumon can only come from Wezen Gammamon. There is no other way to get Gammamon, especially considering that this is a dim which does not have access to Jogress.
Was that supposed to be an evolution of Gammamon, though? I feel like some of them, like...
Every single one of those newly introduced perfects have 3 horns.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Also, let me bring back the Xenocam so that you can be visible.
I'm just... My one thing, I feel like... I feel like the one thing about this is another thing people are complaining about, but I don't really mind this aspect of Gammamon is the fact that he's an alien.
Oh yeah, I love that part, honestly.
Like, everyone was angry about that, and like I kind of get it because it does feel like it comes out of nowhere.
But it doesn't, because we've known that since before episode 1.
Yeah, because like they've been kind of dangling that in front of us for a while now, because like all of his evolutions have something to do with
they're all named after stars. He's explicitly in his own profile is said to have incorporated data from outside of our galaxy. But yeah, like, see, here you go. Fumamon, main horn, 2 side horns. Zanmetsu, main horn, 2 side horns. Galeadhu, main horn, 2 side horns. Bomber, main horn, 2 side horns.
Weird.
Every single one of them is meant to be a Gammamon Evo.
Interesting. And that's my thing. I just, I overall, I totally understand the people that were frustrated with the show, that are frustrated with the ending. I don't, it's obviously it's not perfect. It does have its flaws.
I've always been the kind of person who says whether, like, either something is your cup of tea or it isn't. In this case, Ghost Game was a cup of fucking hot cocoa with marshmallows, whipped cream, and a little candy cane stirred in for that nice peppermint flavor.
And some people just weren't into it, which is fine.
Some people don't like candy canes in their hot chocolate. That's fine.
Exactly. So, like, my biggest thing with the ending is that, Ghost Game at overall, which is not a lot of people's cup of tea, which is completely fine.
Yeah.
But I just feel like a lot of it though is a little overreacting. Like, to call this the worst season, I think is ridiculous, and I think that's just way too reactionary. Like, it's easy to say that now, but like, someone who
it's going to be exactly like what happened with every other season, is people are going to hate on it now because it was different, and then we're going to go forward 2 years, and people are going to calm down, and they're going to look back on it, and they're going to love it. And why? Because it was different.
Yeah, and they're going to be like, why doesn't Digimon do this anymore? Because, and that's
and the answer, because it's Digimon. We don't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
There is no anymore.
I have been a fan. I've been watching the animes, sans a few seasons, since the beginning. And like I said, the only season other than Adventure and Tamers, and when it finished, everyone was like, wow, that's so good. I think this is the best season. That was it. It was just Adventure when it finished, and Tamers. People did not like O2. People did not like Frontier. People did not like Saber. People did not give a
shit about Cross Wars.
Yeah, I still don't get why people hate on Sabers. I thought Sabers was fun.
See, funnily enough, I've heard nothing but praise about Sabers, so I think that one might have had the most massive turnaround.
Oh no, that one had the rebound. But I'm just saying the initial reaction to these seasons, like the initial reaction.
I'm guessing the reason is entirely because of Agumon 2005. or was it 2007? I forget.
People didn't even hate it for that. I think people were just like, where's Ty and the characters? I don't know. It was really weird. People just didn't really care about Sabers when it first came out.
You know what I think is part of that?
What?
It aired in a weird place too.
It did.
Like, I think that was like, it wasn't. It was like, it was still on Disney, at least for me, but it was on, like, it was still on the same channel, but it had a weird time slot, or it had gotten shifted to a different network. I don't remember. But either way, it was in a different place and a different time slot and shit. And so I think that might have had an impact in some capacity.
I think so. I don't think you're wrong, because it was on Jetix.
It was on Jetix, but it was like a different time slot than they normally did Digimon. I
Yeah, it was at a weird
distinctly.
time slot. And I think it was also aired out of order as well. They didn't really...
heard it a bit.
Yeah. But, you know, like I said, even back in the day, people were like, oh, whatever. And then, like you said, people did not like Crosswords at all. I remember when Crosswords first came out, people were like, what is this crap?
I mean, to be fair, the dub didn't really do it much favors.
I mean, even before the dub was announced, I remember like a lot of people were just so excited to see Digimon do anything. They watched the sub, and the people didn't even like the sub. They were just like not there for it. They just didn't like the whole Digifuse aspect and stuff like that.
I again will put in my little piece of Crosswords manga propaganda. The manga handles everything about Digifuse so much better because it doesn't, like, it starts giving you hints about halfway through, but also almost immediately, about how there's something off about it compared to the way Digimon usually is.
Interesting.
And I really something I really like is that as the manga progresses, it will start to, like, almost become more aware of that. Like, there's a point where, they do, like, a forced Digifuse between a Digimon and a human. And everyone's like, what? And then someone has an internal monologue where they're like, I'd heard legends about such a thing, but I didn't think it was real. And that panel is literally just fucking Dukemon silhouette with a human silhouette inside of him. And they do callbacks like that all the fucking time.
That's weird. Also, I just read what Larry Box said. Yeah, Gammamon is just Mega Man Star Force.
Yep. Gammamon is Mega Man Star Force.
Not even that, but they also mention... It's true, because I remember that, yeah. People hated Marcus. They're like, oh, he punches Digimon. That's so stupid. So now everyone's like, yo, Marcus is the fucking most Chad Digimon protagonist. He punches people in the face. How cool is that? Like, I do remember that.
7 Venom Vandemon!
7 Mega
like
Evolutions.
Dominoes!
Arguably, like, honestly, Venom Vandemon arguably is, like, beyond Mega. He's technically, like, you know, 6+. So, like, yeah. I feel like he is. Is he not? I could be wrong.
Because, I mean, Vandemon is just a perfect level.
Wait, is he perfect? I thought he was a Mega level.
No, he's perfect.
What?
But to go back, to refocus ourselves back on Ghost Game's lack of use of the Digimon they weren't in, that they didn't even know about. I do really, really like how we have so much more to explore. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, remember, they're doing a manga contest right now, like, it only takes one talented, pissed off fan to be like, all right, we're making Gammamon the fucking main Digimon for the manga, and we're gonna explore his unexplored types. You know, it's possible. Oh god, I just had this horrible fucking premonition. I just had this horrible thought that, like, they're just gonna do. I mean, it being an isekai would not be off for Digimon. But I was just thinking, like, I keep seeing memes about, like, oh, that time I got reincarnated as a Sukamon, and I just feel like that's might be what we end up getting. I don't want that. I don't even want that as, like, a meme. I don't want that at all. Because it would, yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, it is cool that we can see this more. I mean, who knows? Like, I'm gonna assume that, like, Seekers, even though it's being released weekly, is, like, already done. It's just being drip fed just to give us, like, content throughout the year.
At the very least, there is a plan.
Yeah, at the very least, there's a plan. So, like, it's possible. I wouldn't expect this at all, but it's possible that Gammamon could show up in Seekers, and these.
I was actually mentioning that earlier. The possibility exists that the rest of Gammamon's line could be explored that way.
Yeah, like, I feel like that is a way we could do this.
What
because
is my camera tracking right now? I'm pacing around, and I just see my model, like, going whoop 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 whoop.
I thought you were, like, picking something up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna sit back down so that my model stops being weird.
Resync.
Oh shit. Resync. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like it's really possible that we could see Gammamon come back with the Sons of Chaos. I mean, Proximamon.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be an interesting Digimon to show off in that kind of setting.
At the same time, the fact that it's so heavily guarded, I wouldn't be surprised if they go the morally gray route and try to pin just as much, like, just as much evil on, or just a little, or almost as much evil on the actual police force as
the hackers.
As they do the hackers, and the way they do that is the incorporation of the Gammamon line as a secret weapon. As we do
that'd be cool.
We do know that the D Brigade, Sealsdramon is the other Digimon that can evolve into Fumamon. Fumamon is an android type. So if Fumamon's a cyborg, and it can evolve from Sealsdramon, it wouldn't be out of place within the actual use of the D Brigade.
Yeah. I was just laughing because I was like, "Oh, that's funny. He's a cyborg ninja."
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good. I think it's a good theory because, I don't find it a coincidence that they're like, "Hey, this is going to be a more mature story." Where we have the main character, this group of hackers he's trying to infiltrate, and then a police force that's being tasked to take care of the hackers. I can definitely see there being like this. It's not going to be as cut and dry as most Digimon seasons, where it's actually going to be like, okay, like,
yeah,
they're both have their own goals and they're going about it their own way, and it's not the right way. Because just making the D Brigade, which is like classically a evil like group of Digimon, like
down to the fact that they literally occupy the motherfucking evil genome XL.
Exactly. Like since their inception, they have been seen as evil Digimon. Like, these are a group of evil Digimon. They're heavily militarized evil Digimon. It's been cut and dry, just like you said. They're in the evil genome. Like, pretty cut and dry, pretty obvious that's what they're going with. So to give them to, like, the police force, it's gonna be obvious that, like, there's just not gonna be, like, these are the good guys.
This is not going to be a propaganda scenario.
No, not at all. Very based of Digimon, I must say.
Based Digimon is based. We knew this was coming.
So I definitely feel that, and so I just feel like, we're gonna be seeing new D Brigade Digimon, and that they're gonna have the D Brigade. I feel like, just like you said, I can see them working if not Gammamon, just the idea of like maybe the police are using the D Brigade similarly to how hackers use Digimon, where they're modifying them themselves and they're making their own Digimon because they're, they think that, oh, this is for the greater good, we have to do it like this to fight the hackers. And I think that's going to be an interesting plot point to explore.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm just very quickly fixing something with my model that I noticed.
No. Wait, you're doing a hotfix on your model?
Yes. There
Whoa.
we go.
Oh my god, Dave and Dorumon buddy cop manga. Honestly,
Yes.
though, I think did someone mention earlier in the chat that Gammamon's pretty much Dorumon?
Yes.
Because that is that's kind of shockingly accurate. They are very, very similar.
They're correct. They're very correct. And as usual, it was Draggy who mentioned this. Because of course it was.
It's weird, but glad that there's a massive payoff for one of the reoccurring Digimon, the constant companion of another. But yeah, give it. I'm gonna give it. I'm giving it 5 years. And 5 years, people will be talking about how Ghost Game's the most underrated season.
Ghost Game is the most underrated season. We know this to be true.
Everyone's gonna be saying it because
Yep.
I feel like the only season I didn't see this much. I'm surprised because like I dropped 2020. I did not finish it. So when that finished, I was kind of surprised there wasn't this much hate for 2020.
I think that the reason why is because 2020 was so popcorn. Everyone's hatred of it fizzled out before it finished.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't finish it. Like I
couldn't either. I lost my place and I just didn't feel the need to come back to it.
Yeah, I was pretty bored. And I was just like, do I really want to go back? And I was like, no, I don't actually. And then I didn't. And it's kind of messed up, but like that's why I couldn't really be too hard on Ghost Game because it was at least entertaining me. Like the episodic format really started to hurt it in the later episodes because like I definitely think they should have dropped it like at max 10 episodes before the finale, at minimum 5. And they kind of did that. Like the last 5 episodes do try to flesh out. Yeah, they do try to link together. They do try to like flesh out the finale.
You want to know something funny though?
What?
The only recent Ghost Game episode I've watched is the finale.
Wait, you didn't watch the last 5 episodes?
Nope.
Oh, you should. The last 5 episodes.
I got too busy, like basically the week before Hokuto came back, and this is the only week I've been free, and I just only had time for 1 episode, so I was like, I'll watch the finale to be caught up. And
it's not
about Ghost Game. You can just pick it up.
That's true, yeah, and they said that's what they wanted, and like they did do that. Like there are obviously like I do want to make a list of like episodes that are like you cannot skip. But like overall, I just feel like the message that they gave at the end, even though it's a mixture of O2's prologue or O2's epilogue and Survive's ending. Even though it's a mixture of those two, I still did like it. I still like the idea that Hokuto and Quantumon teamed up together to try to stop this possible epidemic in the digital world. And by doing that, they figured that they would try to find a way for humans and Digimon to coexist. And the one way they were able to figure out how they could coexist is like the emotions that we share with Digimon. Because that's the one thing that we share with Digimon is our own emotions. And I really, really like that message. I really, really do.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really cute that you could go back and see some of the more quote unquote fillery episodes and have a different perspective. Like I remember somebody mentioned right before, and I think I mentioned this in the video I recorded, but somebody mentioned right before the finale, they were like, "Oh, you know, like I cannot believe they're gonna end it in one episode. How the fuck are they gonna end this? Like, there's so many loose threads. Like, are we ever gonna go back to the episode with Meikumon? Like, are we ever gonna get a conclusion to that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that kind of does end in a little mini cliffhanger." But then like I watched the finale and I was like, "Oh, okay, well that makes sense because the emotion for that one was obviously like jealousy and possessiveness." And that was like kind of the point of that episode, is to show that emotion. So it's kind of cool. Like Ghost Game is a mixture of like horror, and then each episode focuses also on an emotion. And I thought that was really cool. Like even down to like, remember the Mephistomon episode where he was like scaring people just to freeze them in the stone? Like that episode's about fear. Like I think that's really cool. I really like that. And then also kind of like that works as a good way to like, what's the word? That was a good like foreshadowing also to like the main mystery, because like Mephistomon found out that if you scare humans enough, they could become like fully like corporeal. I can't remember what they called the different forms, and that's
literally what was made clear as to how Digimon manifest.
Yeah, and
so emotion.
Yeah, and that's
clear,
why
that was clear from fucking episode 3 with Dracmon's whole deal being pranking humans to manifest enough fear to fully realize.
Yeah. I like that. I like it a lot. And
I also like how it kind of like, I guess the best way to put it is that it's episodic in terms of plot, but it's very much serialized in terms of theming.
Yes. Airdramon said it the best.
Better.
Airdramon said it the best. I watched his video, and he mentioned that it's kind of like X-Files, where X-Files is very much episodic Monster of the Week, and there is an overlying plot that gets kind of picked at from time to time. But the difference is X-Files is like an hour long, Ghost Game is 20 minutes long, so there's only so much you could fit.
And Patty, it is episodic. It's not filler. It can't be filler if there's nothing to fill. Filler is explicitly
no, Ghost
referring...
Game bad. This popular YouTuber said it's bad and they're right.
No, but like legitimately, this is something that's annoyed me for a while about the way people describe this, but also other shows.
Yeah,
filler exclusively refers to part of an adaptation which is added in order to fill out time. Ghost Game is not an adaptation, therefore nothing that it's composed of can be filler.
Not only that, but
it would be more apt to say Ghost Game is an anthology of short stories starring the same characters with occasional tie-overs between stories as time goes on.
You know what's hilarious? That's exactly how I describe it in my video.
Really?
Word for word. I said like Digimon, because to me, because I never really watched X-Files like that, I said it feels more like an anthology. Like Ghost Game feels like Are You Afraid of the Dark, or like Goosebumps. More so Are You Afraid of the Dark. It felt like Are You Afraid of the Dark / The Twilight Zone, but instead of being an anthology, it just focuses on the same core characters.
Or rather, I think the best way I can put it is kind of like the style of like novel series of like Sherlock Holmes or Arsène Lupin. Where it's a number of different stories where where at least some of the characters are the same, and the core plot structure is going to be generally the same, like you know what you're getting into, but they're not necessarily going to link back to each other in this massive grand scheme. Yeah. It's not so much a Lord of the Rings as it is, this time Arsène Lupin stole this thing, and this time Sherlock Holmes solved this case.
Yeah. And this
time Scooby-Doo found this billionaire.
Yeah, exactly. What
And
is the
this
Scooby
time,
to do
the
here?
ghost gamers found this Digimon.
The Ghost Gamers. I am going to call them that from now on. But that is honestly how it is, and I would 100% agree with you. I think it's definitely like that's just kind of how they wanted to make it. Period. Like this wasn't the other than the whole Arcturusmon Proximamon thing. Like none of Ghost Game was like the what's the word? It wasn't the product of like any type of interference. It's not like they wanted to do something but didn't. Because I know a lot of people were kept saying like, "Oh, Toei or Bandai fucked them over." It's like no, like that's not the case at all. Like this is
to
how
a degree you can say that Bandai a little bit messed up Toei's delivery.
Yeah, especially with like I said,
the
with
included extra
Proximamon.
Digimon, but if someone had just mentioned that they weren't going to show up, then that would have been fine. And knowing that they weren't supposed to kind of clears that feeling to me, at least.
Yeah, and then like I don't really like other than that. Overall, like it's not like Toei or Bandai was like screwing Toei over or anything like that. That's not the case at all. It's just the fact that this is how they wanted the show to flow. This is how they wanted it to be. This is how they wanted the story to unfold. They wanted it to be like a show where you could just kind of watch it whenever. And, you know, obviously didn't make for a... I wouldn't say satisfying, but it didn't make for a, like... I guess satisfying for some. It didn't make it satisfying for some, but overall, this is, like, not necessarily something they... It's not something they didn't expect. Like, they knew what they were doing, and they knew it was going to be a little controversial because, like, the scenario writer was extremely worried. They were talking about on Twitter how nervous they were about the finale of Ghost Game because they were, like, really worried that people weren't going to like the ending. And, you know, I don't blame him for feeling that way. I do feel bad that he fucking retired after Ghost Game finished. I haven't seen...
To be fair, it didn't seem like he retired so much as he's like, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm going back to just writing episodes.
Yeah, like, I haven't really seen... Like, I do follow a lot of Japanese people, but I haven't seen much of the opinions of, like, the Japanese fan base. I haven't seen anything negative yet, though, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So it seems like only the Western fans were disappointed with this ending. From what I've seen as far as, like Japanese
Western fans didn't pay attention to the fact that the series was going to be episodic.
I think so. I think also they just didn't like it to begin with. I think even if Proximamon and Arcturusmon showed up,
even if a lot of people were saying that they were the only things that could save it, but to be honest, if you didn't like Ghost Game, by the time we got to the last 5 episodes, you weren't gonna like Ghost Game.
I was like, if you guys have not liked this entire, like, 60-plus episode journey, like, I don't think 2 shiny new evolution showing up is going to change your opinion. Like, I don't understand how that's, like, going to change anyone's opinion on the format of the show. You know, it all sounds like copium, but it really is, like, I just feel like I said, I just feel like it's definitely, like, an over... like a bit of an overreaction because, like, I've been hearing people say, because this is coming from someone who's been watching Digimon since it started. I did skip some seasons, but still, I have heard people say this has been the worst season of Digimon since Frontier. And so, like, I don't really take that at face value because, like, there's always something to especially when you go back and look at certain seasons. There's always something when you're watching it with, like, you know what to expect, and also you're kind of watching it with, like, a different perspective. There's always something you can find to like about each season. You know, people didn't like O2 initially, but you go back, yes, it's a bit of a mess, but, like, you know, someone was, I did a poll. I'm doing, like, a poll for, like, the next couple days, probably the next week or two, polling people, like, what their favorite season was. So I went with the first 4 seasons because you're only allowed to do 4 images on an image poll for some reason. Yeah. So we did the first seasons. Obviously, Tamers was voted the most, but somebody mentioned in the comments, because I wanted people to sound off, like, their own opinions. People mentioned that they like Frontier, which I'm not surprised about.
Yeah.
But someone mentioned something about O2, and I really like this. They said, you know, no, a lot of people don't like O2, but they said they liked it because of how campy it is, and the
Mhm.
dub really helps with that, where the dub takes it less seriously, makes it more campy. So while yes, the production was a mess and the story doesn't flow too well if you're paying super hard attention to that,
See,
but if you just see it as like this campy, fun story with these characters and you're in love with these characters and their characterization through the dub, it's a fun time. And
Yeah.
I agreed with him because I didn't dislike O2 when it first came out. I loved O2. I really liked the characters. I really liked how it flowed.
Mhm.
I was also a dumb kid, so like any of the fucking problems with the story and storylines dropping,
Just
I mean,
go-
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't fucking remember that shit.
Mhm.
And so like that's how I feel about O2 as well. I never disliked O2. I always had fun with it. I always thought it was
Yeah.
a fun campy journey.
I'm actually watching O2 right now. I want to say I'm on like episode 16, episode 17.
Okay.
And and I'm watching it subbed, but this is my favorite Digimon series I've ever watched so far.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
enjoying it. I don't, like I said, I feel like, you know,
I actually specifically went with subbed on this one purely because I knew it would end up completely annoying the hell out of me to hear Davis simping for Kari every 5 seconds.
oh yeah. Does he not do that as much in the
He
sub, I guess?
really doesn't. It happens like once every like 4 episodes.
Interesting, because that is a constant in the dub.
And the other thing is that like he doesn't like dislike TK nearly as much. They have like a much more friendly dynamic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Which is cool. Because I do remember catching a couple episodes of O2 as a kid, and that was not the case in the dub.
No, yeah, they have a huge beef in the dub. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
But
that's-
what is neat about it is that, what I really like about it is how O2 somehow feels like the most classic Digimon adventure ever could. It's all computer based to a degree. You can kind of feel like the way their clothes change when they go into the digital world is representative of like an avatar login system.
Yeah, or even
the entire thing is about territory control. The Digimon Emperor is literally capturing Digimon with the same fucking restrictions as Digimon capture. The lock on evolution being the reason that the ancient species are brought back, the ancient species themselves having such interesting connections to the V-Pets and whatnot. It lines up so perfectly. The first 5 episodes, with the exception of one Digimon, with the exception of one non-partner Digimon, every single non-partner Digimon that shows up is from the original 5 digital monsters.
Yeah.
So O2 has some stuff that I am very fond of. I'm not gonna lie on that front. Yeah, O2 is just world. The other thing that I think is really key to the other thing is that I think that when it comes to the actual like actually no, you know what? I don't think. I completely lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going with that.
That's fine. I'm gonna let it leave your mind. I will like get us on another track, and then it'll come back, and you can cut me off. So fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say too. Either way, Digimon. Oh no, this is why I said in my video, that like I don't recommend people ask like new fans. I never would recommend a new fan to ask older fans a recommendation because older fans have a bias. Period. Doesn't matter like what focus you have. Goat game. It doesn't matter what like focus you have, whether you're a card game fan, which is technically newer. Anime fans, game fans, VPET fans, all of them have their own frame of reference and their own bias. If you asked an anime fan what anime should I watch,
fan bias against the Excel. Remember that?
Yeah, or even like at this point, like before, like pre 20th, if you asked any VPET fan what their favorite was, they would used to always say the Pendulum. Nowadays, more people like the bricks. They're getting tired of the bricks, but more people like kind of have more of a nostalgic value to the bricks. And nowadays, I've seen people say the Pendulum X is their favorite, which people used to not say that back in the day. Probably because also the Pendulum X was so fucking rare. But either way, that's
rare and it was difficult, and we have contributed to those no longer being the case.
That is true. So that's the thing. Like, you asked a VPET fan what VPET they should buy. You asked an anime fan. I'm like hearing like VPET bias. I'm just getting thrown back to the sheer amount of vitriol that people on the DDC would have when you recommended the Excel or said the Excel was good. I don't even remember that.
Okay, basically, one person would recommend Humulos. It was almost always either me or Humulos who would recommend the Excel, and then someone else would jump in and be like, no, I hate the Excel. I hate it so much. It's terrible. It doesn't work anything like a standard VPET. There's nothing about it that makes sense. And I'm just sitting there like, but this is, so cool. You can keep your Digimon at whatever stage you want for as long as you want. You have a way higher variety of evolutions. It's like the digital monster in that regard.
Yeah.
What's the downside here?
Yeah, I don't know. Even after you're finally getting one, again, based Humulus, it's fun. I was like, wait, why do people hate this one again? Because I'm having a lot of fun with this. When am I supposed to stop having fun with this? Because this is fun. So, that's the thing. And just like you said, people, especially, older fans, if you don't have, the general mindset, they will, oh, no, you're wrong. It's not good. So, that's why I said, it's not really a good idea to, ask for recommendations sometimes because, they will tell you, they'll give you this preconceived notion. Someone, like I said, people used to hate O2. Oh, I just watched Adventure 1 and then skip O2. O2 sucks. It's horrible. Just go shoot to Season 3. That's what the people used to say all the time. And, nowadays, people are like, I love...
that's the thing I was going to say.
Aha!
Tamers won your poll, right?
So far, it's in the lead.
Right. So here's the thing. Japan hates Tamers?
Really?
Yeah!
I didn't know that.
Tamers is, one of the lowest rated seasons for Japan.
That is fucking
That's the reason that Tamers never gets anything and Adventure got everything.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's because Tamers and everything after it kind of just did not hit the same highs that Adventure did. Which is so crazy to think about because Tamers is the defining Digimon season over here.
It is. It's the season.
It is the season.
That's crazy.
Not only can you say, watch Digimon Tamers to someone who's looking for a good Digimon season to watch, but you can say, watch Digimon Tamers to give someone a general idea of what the franchise is about at its core.
Yeah. Damn, and Japan was like, nah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, Japan just did not like Tamers.
That's super interesting. It does make sense, though, because, there's not really... Until recently, when they were, starting to celebrate the anniversaries, they would not do much with Tamers.
They did.
That makes a lot of sense. Wow. I had no fucking clue. That's really crazy.
Right?
That's really... Because I cannot fathom, because, ever since Tamers came out in America...
It literally... it's such a complete culture shock to think about.
Yeah, because, Tamers here is so ubiquitous with Digimon. You say Digimon, people are like, yeah, Tai and whatever, but, Tamers was the season.
Listen,
that was the
when
best.
you hear Digimon, you don't hear the classic Digirap. You hear the Digirap with the epic guitar in the background.
Exactly. And that's, that's something that I mentioned, I feel like you're better off if you're a newer fan to just jump into whatever looks interesting to you.
Absolutely.
If you...
In fact... I would say my personal way to recommend new people into Digimon is basically to ask them what it is about Digimon that they're interested in. Are they interested in the monster designs? Are they interested in the setting? Or are they interested in, the stories that it tells?
Yeah, that's true.
If it's the stories that it tells, I'd say pick the anime that sounds the coolest to you. If it's the settings, I would say play Cyber Sleuth, because Cyber Sleuth gives like a good rundown of the general setting of everything in the form of a game that isn't too painful.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of the monster designs, then get yourself a fucking virtual pet.
Yeah. And I like, if you guys don't watch them, I just got back into watching them recently. Negative Legend makes great videos. I had no idea. I always just assumed that they were a Digimon fan.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow they were not until literally this year. Like literally this year, they were like, "I'm gonna get into Digimon."
But they give off such Digimon vibes.
Yes, which is like insane to me. Like I was genuinely shocked that they just like never got into it until now. And so that was really the video that inspired me to make my video. I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago about like, you know, the current state of Digimon and stuff, because hearing their perspective as someone who has been aware of Digimon but never actually took the dive, I thought it was really interesting the way they were doing it, where they were like, and they even said, they were like, hey, a really good way to get into Digimon, if you don't want to worry too much about story, about a game or whatever, buy a V-Pet. And they had the Vital Hero. They bought the Vital Hero, and they're like, this really... Because, like, and they were right. They're like, back in the day, when you're a dumb kid, like, sure, Pokemon the show was fun. But, like, you really were watching these shows for, like, the look of the cute monsters. You were really buying the cards... Because no one fucking plays the card game. Because the monsters look cool. So if you want to do that with Digimon, you get yourself a Vital Brace.
I honestly think, as someone who really got into Digimon because of the virtual pets, as someone whose reintroduction to this franchise was Digimon Unlimited, and I've told you that story plenty of times, but the virtual pets are absolutely the best way, in my opinion, to get into Digimon if you're fond of the concept of a virtual pet.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because you will immediately form an emotional bond with whatever the hell you end up raising. It doesn't matter if it's a literal fucking piece of shit. It's your literal fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, it's your piece of shit. It's true, because I remember.
One day, that literal fucking piece of shit is going to be an alien. And you're going to be so proud of that fact. But even more so, the virtual pets do so much to make everything else so much brighter.
Yeah.
Because you can appreciate someone else's bond with their orange dinosaur because of how much you love your piece of shit.
Yeah. It's true. And, you know, I remember when Digimon Unlimited was, when I had discovered it, I installed it on my brother's phone, my little brother's phone, and he got Dogmon, which is a Trashmon.
I've gotten that one many times.
Oh, yeah. I feel like he's one of the more common Trashmon on DU.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, he's so cute. I like him. He's a good dog. And I was like, oh, cool. And then he ended up getting... I think he ended up evolving into, like, Shell Numemon. And he was, like, so excited. You know? Yeah. And, like, that's Digimon. Like, that's Digimon! Like, that's Digimon. And I know, like, because I was more of a Digivice person until the 20th came out. I feel like, well, not really the 20th. Until, like, around Tri came out, I finally got a D-Cyber. And that was, like, my first Digimon V-Pet. And, I mean, I think we all know how fucking hard that goddamn thing is. Yeah. So, like, that got me into it. And then when the 20th was announced, like, oh, I've always wanted a brick, but they're so goddamn expensive. Let me buy this one for like $40. Bought the brick, and I was like, this is so much fun. And I fell in love with the Trashmon, because it's like, it's so fun to get them. And then if you do good enough, they evolve into something strong.
It's I love such a good concept. I love that concept.
Yeah. And so, like, that's my biggest thing. I'm like, you know, like, you'd be surprised the connection you could get or form with something that you, at face value, probably wouldn't like very much. And I just definitely feel like that is the heart and soul of Digimon. I say it all the time. but it is really true. Like the V-Pets were the beginning of everything.
Mhm.
Like they didn't pitch this as a multimedia like franchise. It was a V-Pet first. They were like, let's make some manga that's like a kind of guide because people are kind of confused on how to raise some of the Digimon.
Yeah.
And then after like I don't know, I think version 4-ish, then they were like, okay, we're gonna make this into an anime and a manga and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Like that. That's why I always tell people, like, try to get into the V-Pets, because that is really the core of the franchise, because everything builds off of the V-Pets in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
You know, they do bend things and they change things slightly, but it's always... I feel like everything's always based off of that very core. And to experience that in its truest form, I think is something that, like, kind of changes you. It almost changes your brain chemistry.
It
like,
does. It's like getting a new pet, but then you don't feel as bad when it dies because it didn't actually die, it just turned back into an egg.
Yeah, and like I think that's why Digimon World is a lot of people's favorite game, because Digimon World is just the V-Pets.
Is the virtual pet experience, but you can explore it. And that is why World is the greatest video game ever created, and I will die on this hill. I don't care if I helped make it. I can't play Digimon World because World has spoiled me.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, why would I play this when I can play this where I've already raised my Digimon and taken excellent care of it and it doesn't die on me in the middle of the game?
True. I mean, you could try... I would Next Order is pretty fun. I've been having a lot of fun with Next Order.
I'm very tempted to try Next Order, but I also missed out on the pre-order bonus that was going to get me my Paladin mode.
Oh, I think you can still get it on Steam. I could be wrong, though.
Oh, okay.
I would check that out. See if you can find it on Steam. If not, if it's on... Sometimes
I was going to get it on Steam anyway.
Sometimes CD keys will have, like, the pre-order bonuses.
Ooh.
So I'd check that, too.
Yeah.
My thing... did you hack your 3DS yet?
Yes.
Try Decode.
No.
That's a free...
I have tried that too many times. I refuse to play Decode ever again unless I can get something other than a motherfucking Greymon!
You're stuck with Greymon. You
Why does it always Greymon?
I don't know, but after, I think the second gen onward, you're allowed to raise something else, finally.
No. See, that's the thing. You can get something other than Greymon in the first gen.
Oh.
It just doesn't let me.
Oh, that's weird. Well, you know what they say. I don't know. I got it.
I just want to have something other than Greymon, damn it. I think what I ended up doing is I ended up using, like, cheats and shit to just give myself an evolution item to get something other than Greymon.
I mean, that's fine. I feel like that's part of the VP experience too, if you think about it.
Everyone consoling me in the chat over getting another fucking Greymon. Listen, I don't dislike Greymon. I just dislike the fact that I'm not allowed to have anything other than Greymon.
You're gonna take your Greymon and you're gonna fucking like it.
It's so funny to me because, like, every single Digimon, like, all of the Digimon that I raise are, like, Dragon, Dinosaur, Mecha, and despite that, my partner, like, I've asked for my partner Digimon, oh, Wormmon.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, obviously, this Wormmon has become a Mecha Dragon, but, like, that's not a given. Most Wormmon things are dragons.
It's true.
You lucky bastard! That's what I was trying to get! I wanted a Tyrannomon.
I'm trying to get Tyrannomon right now.
Yeah.
On the version 1. Wish me fucking luck.
Oh god, I think Tyrannomon was, like, one of the first adults I got on the version 1.
You're lucky.
Yeah. Right, I think I told you about this on, like, the comments of, like, the short where it happened, but, like, on the version 1, there's a weird glitch where it will count canceled trainings and failed trainings as trainings.
Yes.
So, if you train to the point of Greymon, even if you didn't succeed at all of them, you still have Greymon training.
Yeah,
And
like
so,
just yeah, right.
yeah. Let me pop back to chat. I have Metal Torino. Oh, Metal Tyranno, I'm guessing. Yeah, that makes sense. My Tyrannomon became Metal Greymon virus and then killed Mugendramon in World 1. See, that's something I've always wondered about. I kind of like, okay, no. I'm happy with Tyrannomon being a Mammamon pre-evolution. But it being exclusive to Agumon always bugged me, because I liked Betamon better. Betamon is my favorite rookie, but Tyrannomon is my favorite adult.
Wait, Tyrannomon's exclusive to Agumon?
Yep.
Oh, fuck, I'm not getting Tyrannomon then.
Yeah, no, the way that the original digital monsters work is there are 2 adults exclusive to each rookie, and then 2 that are shared.
God damn it. Alright, well...
So, Agumon gets Greymon and Tyrannomon, Betamon gets Airdramon and Seadramon, and then Devimon and Meramon are shared.
Well, damn it.
Yep. Oh, sweet. Alright, I will buy that on my next paycheck, which comes in 2 days. Unless... Now is an excellent time to actually get back to this, because we were so excited for Ghost Game Finale that I didn't actually get the chance to get these updates yet. I have a Ko-Fi now, or however the hell you pronounce it. If you look in the links section of the Discord channel page, you will see that I have links to Ko-Fi and for Throne, where you can, if for some reason you deem it necessary, throw money at me, which I will then spend on things I should not buy, such as Digimon World Next Order. And various Diaclone figures. Jesus Christ, there are so many fucking Diaclone figures. There was almost nothing Digimon on Throne, except for, like, Blu-ray discs. So, like, all I could put on my Throne was Diaclone figures.
Oh my god.
And then I also put on, like, some stuff from Zenin, but, like, it won't let me put on Amazon JP. Or anywhere to, like, buy the dim cards quickly, so I would have to get them off Zenin too. But it also lets you just, like, have, like, a section to, like, people who want to just give you cash, so... Yeah, I have donations now, and you should use them. Thank you for funding my addictions to plastic and virtual monsters. Don't actually donate anything unless you can afford it. Ooh. Ooh, yeah, that reminds me. BEMs. Let's talk about the other anime, elephant in the room. Or Elephantmon in the room, as we are talking about O2. The O2 movie, I am very excited for. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very like, it was just silent on your end, and I wasn't sure why.
That's very surprising, because sometimes, like, my fans get a little...
Yeah. But yeah, like, the O2 movie is coming, and while I haven't finished O2 yet, one thing I am very, very excited for is I really, really hope we get a set of 3 O2 dims. Like, just have the 2 rookies be their respective, what's it called? Just have the two rookies be, like, their respective Jawgrass pairs.
Oh,
A
yeah.
Vmon Wormmon a, an Armadillomon Patamon Dim, and a Hawkmon Gatomon Dim. Because they're not putting Patamon or Gatomon in the Angel Dim.
I don't get that.
It's because they're being saved for O2.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. But
I mean,
I'm
now
holding
that-
out fucking hope for O2 to get tie-in Dims because I really want to see
I'm-
if we get more variety for Wormmon
Yeah.
Megas. And Wormmon in general. Like, Paladin mode, I love you, but also I feel like having you as a partner just makes me look like a Mary Sue.
I think that's bullshit. I like the way that Digimon operate in general. Technically, everyone's a fucking Mary Sue. Like every Digimon can become a world-ending monster, even if it's not like, you know.
That's
if
just
you're
straight up
talking
canon, literally. Mega levels are supposed to be world-ending monsters in every form.
Like canonically, like any Digimon that can get to Mega it's like JoJo. Like it doesn't matter what stand it is. It's fucking deadly and should be fucking like you should be worried about it.
Yeah. To be honest, it's not even the feeling of like I'm Mary Sue. It's just I hate sharing with the protagonist. Like, oh my gosh, it's Paladin mode. You must be a huge 0-2 fan. No, I just like Wormmon and dragons.
Yeah, and now you can say you've seen it. Like yeah, I've seen
true.
it.
So far, I am a massive fan of O2.
Yeah.
And Revenge of Diaboromon was great, except for the fact that they literally gave Paladin mode 0 animation.
Wait, you Paladin mode what?
They gave Paladin mode 0 animation. They just slid it across the screen.
I gotta rewatch it because I don't remember that.
Like, you see him holding the sword, you see him flying, holding the sword at the exact same position, and then you see him impaling Armageddon with said sword in the same exact position.
Oh my fucking god, I never noticed
The
that.
entire movie, he never swings the sword.
He literally just goes.
Yeah. And so, like, with that being the case, it's kind of impossible to say that, like, you can't really say anything other than that, the only time I've ever seen Paladin mode actually wield its sword is in Cyber Sleuth, and now I actually have to raise one in Cyber Sleuth to get a decent idea of what its fighting style would be like.
Can you raise it in Cyber Sleuth without doing anything fucky, or do you have to like beat the second game or anything like that?
Well, I've already beaten both of them, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just wondering for myself, just because like I remember going
in order to get it, you would have to raise a Stingmon and an XVmon. Get whichever one you're going to actually keep as the focal one. Get its stats. Get its ABI up as high as you can before doing the Jawgrass. Do the Jawgrass. Then, going forward from there, you should be able to, from either side, be able to get to Dragon Mode. And Dragon Mode can switch between Dragon Mode and Fighter Mode without meeting any requirements, because that's just a mode change.
Yeah.
And then you have to also raise an entire Omegamon, and then you have to Jawgrass the Omegamon with the Fighter Mode, who also needs to have high enough API to be able to reach Paladin mode.
Jesus Christ. I think that's where I fucked up. I got Pyldramon, but I didn't have enough ABI, and I was like, wait, how am I going to get his ABI up?
Yep, you get his ABI up by going back down, raising another Stingmon, and getting that Stingmon's cam to 100.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yep.
I'm just gonna...
Wait, really? Mode change actually ups your ABI. Are you serious?
Wait, what?
That is fantastic news.
Wait, so how does mode change work in those games?
You can you go over to the evolutions table and you can just change its mode. No requirements, right? Am I right about that? I've never actually gotten a mode change Digimon.
I haven't either. I forgot. I can't remember like what the hell my team was at the end. I know it was like it was Shine Greymon Burst, Mirage Galgamon Burst. I think Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Saint Galgamon. I think King Numemon or Platinum Numemon, and then I can't remember who the sixth one was. It was pretty. Oh, Grand Locomon. I just had a random Grand Locomon. I was like, cool,
Yeah.
sure.
Honestly, I love Grand Locomon. We need more vehicle Digimon. We need like more fleshed out concept of vehicle Digimon.
100% agree. You know my big thing though, I wouldn't mind getting more Digimon like Heavy Leomon.
Mm-hmm.
I love Heavy Leomon.
Heavy Leomon is awesome. But you know what we really need more of?
Who?
We need more Digimon like Mechanorimon, but at higher levels.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like Digimon like Mechanorimon and Submarimon, where they're not only are they explicitly like vehicle-esque, but built into them are actual pilotable areas. I want to see more Digimon where you have that kind of Tamers-esque aspect of this Digimon is like this Digimon's body is operated by both the Mon's consciousness and the Tamer. But even more so, I want it to be a case of a literal pilot seat, because I think that would be really fucking cool.
Absolutely.
Also, I'm kind of mad because I'm absolutely 100% happy with having Wormmon as my partner Digimon, and I do not want to replace it in any capacity. But not a single fucking one of Wormmon's armor evolutions has the capacity to be used as a mount, and I hate it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Like, legitimately. Hold on. No, I'm gonna keep the angry face on because I'm mad about this. Digimental evolution chart. Scroll. Alright, here we go. Wormmon. Courage, Shadramon, or Flay Wizardmon. Both good, can't ride either. Togemugamon. Would die if I tried. Owlmon. Way too small. Searchmon. What am I gonna do? Stay on the fucking search radar disc?
Hell yeah,
Nope.
you just T-pose on the disc while it spins.
Yeah. Okay, that would actually be pretty cool. Nohamon. No chance in hell. Archeliomon. I guess I could hold on to one of the spikes. Bullmon? Again, not really.
Debatable.
There's a cape there in the way. Koatomon? No way in hell. They're fucking tiny. Pokemon? Again, fucking tiny. Kongumon? Complete, like, there's nowhere you could even hold on to.
You hold on to his like lace crotch loincloth thing as he runs.
Meanwhile, literally every other ancient species from O2, Lydramon and Setmon, so Vmon gets 2, technically 3 if you count Sagittariumon. Oh, and Gold Vitramon. Vitramon is consistently used as a mount. Tailmon? Nefertimon, obviously, but also Goatmon, also Maildramon. Scrolling up further. Patamon? Obviously Pegasmon. Yeah. Also Rhinomon. Also Mantaramon.
And the weird ferret one if you really want to hold on tight.
Yeah. Hawkmon? Obviously Hulsmon. But also Moosemon. Honestly, you could probably get away with Alomon. Scrolling up even further. Armadimon? Bormon's debatable. I wouldn't be surprised if Kankymon actually has like a fucking cockpit somewhere. Tyrannomon easy. Digmon not so much. Frogmon not so much. Samaramon is the fucking poster child of it.
Yeah, literally has a cockpit.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Wormmon is the only one that doesn't get a mount for him.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
So from
Then
now
again,
on,
I mean-
I am going to headcanon that Searchmon has an opening cockpit somewhere. This is the only solution.
I think I would go. I would also say possibly Bullmon,
I guess?
but he's a literal bull, so I mean, like...
He is a literal bull, so that's probably not the best idea. Oh. Okay, hold up. 2020 saves the day again.
Oh, does he show up as a mount in 2020?
Hold on. I'm gonna send you what Draggy just sent me.
Oh. Oh my god, I was just joking. I have not seen this episode. I literally, I don't think I saw this episode. Like, this is hilarious. This is exactly what I just said.
This is glorious. I love this. Now I just need to Alright guys, I showed you my Ko-fi, now give me money for a D3.
Oh my god. I think it's so annoying that no matter what version of the D3 you want, it's expensive. Like, it's
fuck?
like... Yeah, like,
Remember
it's so...
when you used to be able to get the fucking Paildramon one for like $120?
I remember
Pepperidge
thinking that,
Farms remembers!
I remember looking at that price and thinking, that's fucking ridiculous. And the fact that now that seems reasonable is ridiculous. Like, oh my god. Because, like, think about it. The D3, or not the D3, the D2, you know, it's technically not the name of the device, but that's just the way we colloquially say it. That device, since they've made so many of them, the most recent one, at least last time I checked, the most recent one, the version complete, not too expensive. Like, it's 100 something. The D2 has had all of the classic versions. It's had, I think, 3 different 15th releases, and all of them are still way too fucking expensive. Like, what is up with that? What the fuck is that?
Like, legitimately, my only hope is that if they make tie-in dims for the O2 movie, that they include all of the armor evos for each of those Digimon. Which more likely than not they won't.
I don't know. That's the weird thing. I know we talked about this before, but let's talk about it again. I don't care. The B release, like, schedule, I guess you could say, it just feels weird. Like, it feels less like, because, like, with the first Vital Brace, the way they broke everything up was pretty obvious. It was like, okay, we have the EX dims for anime lines and stuff like that. We have the volume dims for more VPET oriented, kind of like what do you call
pendulum
them?
fields.
Yeah, like fields. And then you got the V1 line, which was for the anime. And that was like, it was pretty clean cut. It was like, okay, this all makes sense. But with the B, so far we have the pack-in dim. We have the 25th anniversary dim, which is technically also supposed to be a pack-in, but they changed their minds. There's the Gammamon dim, which is obviously for the anime. So Gammamon and Goramon and Jellymon. We're getting volumes back, but the volumes are a mixture of fields and references to the anime, because all the volumes so far have to do with sabers, which is where we left off. And that's kind of it. And then, I'm sorry. And then we have the Seekers dims, which we don't really know exactly what they're going to do with that just yet. I mean, obviously...
Presumably they're replacing the Ghost Game ones.
That's what I would assume, because, like,
but they
one
might
of the
be classified
pillars,
differently.
I think so, because one of the pillars was products. Like they said, like it's the novel, it's the trailers, and the products. So like products is obviously going to be linker bands and dim cards. We just don't know how they're going to do that yet. I'm just hoping for more weird stuff. I don't know if Bandai's going to do any more weird stuff. And by weird stuff, I mean stuff like, I guess something like an EX set where we just get more. I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to say it's not enough. I just feel like there should be like one more set of dim cards that we're getting in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Because all we have are just like the volumes and then like whatever's coming with Ghost Game, and that might be it for the entire lifespan of the B, which is not bad because like we're getting some banger ass Digimon, but I'm just hoping we get some like one more line of like things. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just looking through to see if any of them even appear in the freaking card game.
What, the
Wormmon Armor Evos.
I've been out of the card game for a while. I don't remember them adding, in the new card game at least, any of the armor evolutions that aren't the ones from the show. Like, I think, I could be wrong, I think there might be a Shadramon card. Could be wrong.
There is a Shadramon card. It feels like, so but I'm not a fan of Shadramon that much. Only because Shadramon feels too much like it was just designed to be Alter Flamedramon.
And that's why I love it.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not saying that it's bad for being like that. But like,
it's bad.
I guess the best way to put it is that I've never been a particularly fire-aligned person. And so the only option I have, and also the fact that like Flamedramon is like the only Digimon of the armors that ever gets to see use outside of Magnamon, just very much makes me want to be like, well, fine. It just very much makes me be like, yay, Wormmon got an armor. I can't wait to see who it is. Oh, it's just another It's just another Flamedramon.
Yeah.
It's just Flamedramon green. That said, I do like Flamedramon. I do like Shadramon's design.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's quite spiffy.
Mm-hmm. I like how they say it's an insect Digimon, but it's called Shadramon.
Oh yeah, what's with the Dramon ending of that? That is
like,
weird.
It has to technically be a dragon, right?
Why is he not on the new Beastman dim?
Yeah. Yeah, see, it is a Dramon. Yeah, even in the reference book it says insect. Weird.
Very strange.
Yeah.
Shadramon, the bug man.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because like, here's the thing. The fact that it is... I'm gonna open Quantumon for us to look at later. But, like, the fact that it actually is called Drummon, the fact that it has dragon data, almost just got me to accept it. But the fact that it's not actually a dragon is just weird to me.
Yeah.
And also because it doesn't go spinny. I do like the spinny. Armor. Let's just look at all the armors in the reference book.
So I find it hilarious. So I bought I bought a shit ton of Beyblades recently.
Ooh.
And I uploaded a video of me opening some of my Bakugan backlog, and it's just been brought to my attention that both of them are rebooting.
Oh wait, you didn't know that?
No, I feel this is beyond being late to the party. This is like going in to the house and knocking on the door.
If it makes you feel any better, Beyblade has consistently rebooted many a time.
Yes, I was just shocked that I was like, wow, Burst is still going on. That's crazy. Let me buy some Burst Beyblades since they've lasted this long. And then they're like, by the way, we're getting a new generation. I'm like, what the fuck? And with Bakugan, I had no clue that they were literally someone just commented on my video today, and they're like, yeah, by the way, they're rebooting. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Wait, are they rebooting it again?
Yeah, they're rebooting it again.
Oh,
that's
shit.
what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Both Beyblade and Bakugan are revamping their whole shit again. With the Beyblade, I'm watching this guy's video on it, and it is very different. Very, very different. I don't really know what's going on here. It's very strange so far. It looks very different from the way the last one did it. So yeah, I don't know. Very weird. But yeah, I find that hilarious that Bakugan's complete revamp. It's kind of a shame. Not only does this confirm one, the card game is never coming back, which is a shame. I never got a chance to play it. But this also,
you realize that the current version of Bakugan had a full-on card game, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. That version, they only supported it for the first year and a half of the reboot,
okay.
And then they just stopped making cards for it. And they completely cut off support. They said it was on a hiatus, but now that we're rebooting it and it's having new Bakugan and a new battle system entirely, the card game's not coming. It's officially dead.
Yeah.
I wish they would have actually told people hey, we're not bringing this back. I mean, I think maybe they were hoping on it and this didn't happen. But either way, I do feel bad because I know a lot of people that were into the most recent reboot. They loved the card game. They thought it was really fun, and they were begging Spin Master to bring it back, and now it's not. So that's just interesting. That's just
You know what's something that I love to just check up on and just be very confused by?
What?
Armor Digimon that don't correspond to any of the O2 partners.
What do you mean?
Thunderbirdmon doesn't come from any of the O2 partners.
He's an armor?
Yep.
Huh. Wait, who's the base Digimon that it evolves from?
Well, it can be Candlemon, Commandramon, Floramon, Gatsumon X Antibody, Impmon, Penmon. It says Hawkmon, but see, here's the thing. If you go back to the chart, Hawkmon gets Rinkmon from Friendship.
That's weird. That's very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've completely forgot about Randomon.
Yeah.
That was so... Remember that? When we just randomly got an X evolution of a random armor Evo?
Mm-hmm.
Just out of fucking nowhere? Was that... maybe that was a way of them hinting at the Pen Z? I don't know. Because was Rhinomon on the X3 or was he on the X2?
Rhinomon was on the X1.
Wow. Such a weird pick.
Not really.
I'm not against it. Just kind of
Nah, because see, here's the thing. X Antibody... The X devices had a habit of doing that. Right here. Tyrannomon to Tyrannomon X Antibody debuted... Oh wait, no, that's year active 2003.
Damn.
They had a habit of making X Antibody versions of armors, just standard adults.
Interesting. I didn't know they did that before.
Yeah. But yeah, as of right now, it annoys me that the only Wormmon armor I have any reliable access, the only Wormmon armors I have access to are Shadramon on Primeval Warriors, either Pokemon on Primeval Warriors, or Nohemon via the XL.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, no Archeliomon, no Bullmon, no Kuatomon, no Owlmon, no Togemugumon, and no Searchmon. And I really like Searchmon.
Searchmon's cool.
Yeah. Actually, let me check something real quick. Oh wow, we're at 2 hours and 30 minutes. Frogmon
Oh, wow.
is cool. I think Depthmon is reliability for Vmon. Yeah. Depthmon is Vmon's reliability. Also, just something I'd like to point out. Patamon, with its own Digimental, becomes Pegasmon, which very clearly has Patamon elements incorporated into it.
Yes.
Tailmon, with its own Digimental, becomes Nefertimon, which very clearly has Tailmon elements in it. Nothing about the Pokemon look remotely connected to Wormmon, except that one is green.
That's the connective tissue, is being green.
But the normal version isn't even green! Red is the regular version!
It's green, okay. Oh, Frogmons. I love Frogmon.
Frogmon is great. It also slightly bothers me that, like, look, like, XVmon gets 2. Let's see. And Kylomon, okay, so I guess most of them don't have a particular armor form that they can take easily.
Hmm.
Honestly, a lot of stuff with armors just makes 0 sense.
Yeah, I mean that was a thing back in the day. People didn't like armors. I thought they were cool, but a lot of people did not like armors back in the day. They thought they looked too like toyetic, kitty, and didn't make much sense.
See, that's the other thing. That's the other reason that I prefer pretty much all of Wormmon's other armors compared to Phaedramon. How non-toyetic they look.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing to me. Like I'm fine with toyetic designs.
Me
But
too.
I find it hilarious that they were like, oh no, we're gonna give everyone armors. Like everyone has an armor evolution. They just make no fucking sense. We're just fucking winging it at this point. Like, I give them props for that because I don't know what the fuck. And you know what? It's hilarious. We've gone full circle here because the D3 has armors for every single Digimon. Did we see it in O2? No. Does that make O2 a bad season? Maybe.
Oh my god, you're right. We did go full circle.
We were literally fucking full circle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good brain explosion way to end this episode.
Absolutely, yeah. Alright, hold on, let me go back to here.
That's great.
There we go. Alright, yeah. And with that, we shall bid you all adieu.
Audio.
Later.
Bye, everyone.